In this video, I'm going to be telling you when to quit, when to give up, when to double down, and how to know the difference from the Bulldog Mindset perspective. What's up, Bulldogs? Sonmez here from BulldogMindset.com. If you're just joining me for the first time, welcome to the channel where I teach you how to go from the victim mindset to the Bulldog mindset, how to get what you want out of life. And I got this question that I thought was pretty interesting about the Bulldog mindset, and specifically about how to know when to move on from something. By the way, guys, before I get into the question here, I do want to make a quick mention from a new sponsor I have here, which is the Tactical Soap Company. You can see this tactical soap that I have. I've been using this for a while, and I like it. So I decided to approach them about doing a sponsorship since I'm already using this really good product. Basically, what it is it is soap that has pheromones in it. And now, I know some people are like, oh, is pheromones work or not? It really doesn't matter. I mean, I think it does. Again, there's some science to that. I'll talk about that maybe in another video. But the cool thing is, it's like you're going to use soap anyway, so why not have the advantage of it? So really cool stuff, and like the names are cool. This one is Bond, but there's like a Tyler Durden, and there's like a few different blends of it. So anyway, go check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. It says, hey John, initially thought about sending this question to you anyways, but realized it might be good fodder for Bulldog Mindset. What is the Bulldog Mindset approach to knowing when to move on from something? The line of when to double down and when to bail is a tricky one to walk. For instance, my day job has been super stressful for quite a while now, to the point that I dread coming in, largely because of some of the personal interactions that happen, aka some people randomly explode, some are randomly unreliable, everything is either unmanaged or micromismanaged, etc. I've got a significantly good potential upside here, but I still consider leaving nearly every day. The stress has started to get to the point that I'm grinding my teeth at night, have frequent headaches, and have been having pretty regular breakouts of stress generated, however you pronounce that, as well as nightmares that are probably from the same. However, I'm not sure whether it's time to bail or to push through. There are some large changes in the next few months that may be really positive. I don't plan to leave for some time yet, if at all, probably not until summer at the earliest, but I'm curious what your mental model is of how to evaluate this sort of thing, especially when there's a potentially very large upside to hanging on if things work out. Could pay off the house in one shot, for instance. The other fun wrinkle to the thing is that the longer I stay, the better my options are for transitioning to a completely different style of job that is closer to what I really want anyway. Thoughts? So a few things here. I don't want to say that you should stay in a work environment or a situation that is not beneficial to you, okay? But you should not let your inability to tolerate and to manage your own emotions, and to basically have the Bulldog mindset to be stoic, prevent you from opportunities. So when I read this, like, this isn't a really good reason to give up. It's not a really good reason to quit. Now, you can make an argument and say that yeah, this isn't a positive work environment, not the place that you want to be. And I can understand the argument, but the biggest indicator to me in this case is the fact that it is causing this much stress, right? My day job has been super stressful, right? I dread coming in, largely because of other people, so external influences, to the point of grinding my teeth at night, have frequent headaches. What this indicates for me is that you basically do not have the emotional mastery that you need. I understand that the work environment is probably difficult, but it should not be affecting you like this, right? You should not allow this to affect you. So what this is telling me is that there's an opportunity here to grow, right? So what, because if you were already, so it'd be different if you said, you know what, I'm doing a good job. I'm fine. Like, I'm cruising along, and but really the work environment is not very good. I'm not enjoying it. I don't think there's very good opportunities here. Anyway, should I just move to a different company or move to a different job? Right, the people aren't very good, or whatnot. It's difficult, to work with them, even though I'm still kicking ass. Right, that would be a different kind of story. But when I hear that other people and their emotions and the way that they act is directly affecting you and causing this much problem in your life, my answer is you need to get tougher, It's that the Bulldog mindset approach to this is to say, okay, is basically think of it this way, is that this is a skill that you have to master in life. And here's a good chance to master this skill, because all work environments will be stressful and have assholes and all this stuff to some degree. And so even if you move, it's not, it might temporarily solve your problem, but it's really not going to solve your problem, because your main problem is that you're letting this shit affect you. I'm not saying this is the best environment. I'm not saying this is the best opportunity, but the fact that there is an opportunity here that has a pretty high upside indicates to me that this is probably something that you should continue to pursue. And even if it didn't have an upside, I would say, just based on this response, that you should pursue this simply because it is a challenge to you and it's defeating you right now. Right now, you're being beat up by this environment and you're allowing other people and their emotions and their behaviors to affect you. And I don't say this to be harsh or cruel or anything like that. It's just the reality of the situation. A true stoic would not be affected in this way by external things, right? And so this is a good opportunity, right? So here's what I would recommend that you do. Okay, I would say that you continue on this job, but you forget about all this bad shit that's happening. Instead, you focus on how can you deal with this? How can you not let this affect you? How can you be unaffected by this and grow stronger through it, right? How can you accept these challenges? One exercise for doing this is removing yourself from the situation and considering this a movie that you're watching, right? There's a lot of characters at this job. They're interesting characters. They're funny characters. It's really difficult for a lot of people for anyone to really make me angry. I'm not saying that's not possible to make me angry. I'm just saying it's very difficult. Why? When people do things that should disturb me, to me, right, disappoint me in some way. In fact, people really don't disappoint me because I don't have any expectations on them. I think it's comical. I accept it. I view that is how people are. And I don't have any expectation of anyone being other than that. So it's really hard to disappoint me, to not meet my expectations, to shock me. And anger always comes from a gap between expectation and reality. Okay, when you expect something and then reality is this, you get angry because you feel entitled, you feel like you deserve, or that something things are unfair, right? Anger is usually an emotion that is involved with trying to make things fair, feeling that there's an injustice. And so I don't feel very many injustices because I expect that the world is a harsh and cruel place. I expect that bad things are going to happen. I expect that people are going to act their worst, that they're not going to care, that they're going to make bad choices that affect me, right? And I don't say this from a pessimistic viewpoint at all. I'm 100% optimistic. I say this from a realistic viewpoint and one that says from an accepting viewpoint of saying that it's okay. I'm a bad person as well. I make mistakes as well. I do not always execute to the best of my ability and become the person that I would like to be every day. I try, but I fail. I have shortcomings as well. And regardless, that my emotional reaction to things does not change them. My emotional reaction to things does not change them. Your emotional reaction to things does not change them. Whether you're upset or angry or happy about a situation or disappointed, it doesn't matter. It does not change a thing. The only thing it changes is you and your internal state, and to some degree your external state, right? If it's causing you symptoms like being stressed out and getting headaches and grinding your teeth at night and having breakouts, that's you're doing that to yourself, right? It's not other people. It's not external circumstances. It's your interpretation of those things. So you just have to accept them. You have to realize that having an emotional reaction does not change things. Now, can we directly control our emotions like fear and anger and whatnot? Not directly. I mean, we can programmatically change our behavior patterns so that over time, things do not even cause us to have an emotional spike that normally would, or we can control. We can eventually change our habits and our reactions to be to the more positive side. But at any given moment, right, you cannot control what frustrates you, what makes you angry, what makes you scared, what makes you lustful, what makes you whatever kind of emotion, right? Those are kind of natural biological like programming into our brain. Some of it is instinctual, some of it is programmed. But what we can do is we can choose how to interpret that emotion and whether we continue that emotion or whether we shift our thinking and whether we let it affect our actions, whether we dwell on it, right? And that's the key thing to understand here. So what do you do in this situation? You fight. You fight not the other people, not your circumstances. You fight yourself. The battle is within yourself. You are the problem here, right? The first step is recognizing that you are the problem. It's not all these other people. It's not all these other things. Might not be the best environment. Might not be the best people. People may randomly explode and be unreliable. But, I take you back to Marcus Aurelius's writings and Meditations, good book if you haven't read that, where he talks about this idea that when I wake up every day, I expect people to be thieves, to be rude, to treat me poorly, to make bad decisions, to be boring, to be, whatever he says, but his essential idea here is that he already expects that the world is going to be harsh, that people are going to be cruel, that they're going to be stupid and ignorant and all of these things. And it's no surprise to him. And that's just what his expectation level is. It's not pessimistic. It's just a reality based. And so what I would say is that you need to reset your expectations. You need to, this is the environment. So why are you shocked by it? Why, when people react or do things, why are you reacting to these things? If I had a wild tiger and I let it loose in my house, I would not be shocked by what it did. Okay? Like, if it just randomly happened, you just randomly came across a tiger, it'd be a different thing. But you already know. So don't allow these things to shock you. Like, expect these things, expect this kind of behavior, and just don't let it phase you, right? There's no reason that why these things have to phase you, right? If you walk down the street and you see a homeless person who is just yelling and doing random shit, are you shocked by that? I mean, maybe if you've never seen that in your life before, but where I live, that's a pretty common occurrence. And so I don't even pay it a second thought. It doesn't get me emotionally upset. Even if the homeless person yells some shit at me, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me, right? And so it's the same thing here, is you have to become disconnected from this, where you don't allow these things to affect you. So that's the key thing here. And once you do that and you develop and grow in this way, you're going to become a more resilient and stronger person. You're going to have more of the Bulldog mindset. The Bulldog mindset would not say to leave this job just because it's hard and because it's affecting you this way, okay? Especially if there's a significant upside. I would say tackle this, right? This is not a good reason to quit. You have looked at the alternatives and the options and the situation, have determined that is not what you want, that it is not the most beneficial environment for you to be in, and that the rewards and the results that you would get from staying in it are not worth it, right? And then that's just the guidelines for deciding any kind of thing, right? You should never quit because it's too hard. You should never quit because you can't handle it. You should quit because it doesn't make sense. You may find that after you master your emotions and are able to work in this environment and not be affected, that it doesn't make sense. In that case, it makes sense to quit, of course. But do not quit on these terms. Never quit as a bulldog when it is because of some external factor, because you can't hack it to some degree. Would you quit in this situation, or would you stick it out? We'll put a poll up there. Let me know what you think. You can leave a comment if you want to explain a little bit more about your thoughts on this. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see what you guys think and what your level of bulldog mindset is in regards to this, especially in regards to emotional mastery and control. Talk to you next time.